crumbling town of Black Hollow had always been a place of shadows. The mist rolled in thick and uninvited, wrapping itself around the crooked streets like an old, decaying blanket. The air was dense, heavy with the scent of damp leaves and something far worse, something rotten. For years, the town had been haunted by whispers. Stories passed from one fearful neighbor to another. People spoke of the Silent Hand, a name that had become a chilling fixture in the local lore. It was said to be the work of a monstrous shadow stalking the alleys, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. News headlines: another body found in Black Hollow Woods. The Silent Hand strikes again. The Hollow Gazette, October 3rd, 1994. Local police baffled as third victim discovered in the same woods. The Silent Hand evades capture. The Hollow Gazette, October 10th, 1994. Fourth victim found in a hollow grave. Silent Hand leaves no clue behind. The Hollow Gazette, October 17th, 1994. The town had been dying long before the killing started. It had a history, a name once whispered with pride, but now it was reduced to little more than a stain on the map. The victims were always the same quiet, unremarkable people who seemed to vanish without a trace, only to be discovered days or even weeks later in the thick woods surrounding the town. Their deaths were always brutal, but in a way that left nothing to identify their killer. No fingerprints, no DNA, no sign of struggle. But the police were stumped. Local law enforcement had scoured every inch of the woods, but the killer always seemed to be one step ahead. There were theories, of course. Some said the murderer was an outsider, someone passing through the area. Others believed the killer was one of their own. The residents of Black Hollow grew more paranoid by the day, locking their doors and whispering in hushed voices about who the next victim might be. But no one truly knew. One cold evening, a local reporter named Sarah Weaver walked through the mist to the town's dilapidated library, eager to learn more about the so-called Silent Hand. I spent days combing through old newspapers and town records, piecing together a story that was as elusive as the killer himself. Every new clue seemed to only lead to more questions. She'd read the old headlines 100 times, each one more chilling than the last. The latest murder had occurred just 3 days ago. The body of a middle-aged mechanic discovered in a hollow tree at the edge of Black Hollow Woods. The killer had left his signature, a simple handprint drawn in the victim's blood, on the tree next to the body. No one knew what it meant, but it terrified them all the same. Sarah was determined to solve the mystery, to uncover the truth behind the deaths that had plagued the town for so long. Had become obsessed, spending every waking moment in the library searching for patterns, for clues, and finally she thought she had found it. The answer had been staring her in the face the entire time. It wasn't the woods that held the key, nor the bodies, but the town itself. There was something wrong with the people of Black Hollow, something off. In every old photograph, in every document, there was a faint recurring theme. Every one of the victims had ties to the same family, the Hollow family. Her heart pounded as she looked at the grainy black and white photograph of a group of men gathered in front of an old, decaying church. One of the men looked strikingly familiar. His face sharp, cold, was the same as the one in the most recent police sketches of the killer. A chill ran down her spine as she realized the truth. The Silent Hand wasn't a stranger. It was one of them, one of the Hollow family. News headline: Sarah Weaver found at the Silent Hand's latest victim, the Hollow Gazette, October 24, 1994. The investigation into Sarah Weaver's death was quick. They found her body deep in the woods, just like all the others. Her life drained in the same brutal fashion. They found the bloodied handprint on the nearby tree, just like before. But what they didn't find was the final piece of the puzzle, the letter Sarah had written. In the dim light of her apartment, Sarah had scribbled down her last thoughts, her final theory. It was a chilling realization, the discovery of the murderer's identity. The letter had been meant for her editor, but it was never sent. It read, "The killer is one of us, someone who has lived here for years, blending in. He's been hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right moment. He's here, in the shadows, and I think I know who it is." The letter was cut off abruptly. No one ever found out who Sarah had been about to name. But one thing was certain: she had gotten too close to the truth. The town of Black Hollow was quiet again now, the whispers fading into the past, leaving behind nothing but with the scent of rotting wood and old secrets. The people went about their business, oblivious to the true nature of the danger still lurking in the dark. But I know the truth. It was always me. From the very beginning, I am the Silent Hand. No one suspects a thing, do they? You read my story, the one I wrote, so carefully wondering, guessing, trying to figure out who I am, what twisted mind could create such horror. But you'll never guess, because I am the one who holds the pen. I've been here all along, watching, waiting, and now you know my name. But that's all you'll ever know, because I'm always one step ahead, just like I was with Sarah. The Silent Hand strikes again, and no one will ever catch me.